Okay, Mr. Bickle, you ready?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we earlier this week, Mr. Bickle also filed a motion asking that the court recuse itself. I've reviewed your motion, Mr. Bickle, and have denied the motion. So we're ready to proceed today on the, we're going to do the motion to suppress evidence today. Is that correct, Mr. Bickle?
That's correct.
Okay, and exactly which evidence are you asking to suppress, just so we have a clear idea?
Everything from the stop.
You mean
An
any
unlawful stop, so
No. Any observations that were made by the police officer as a result of that stop, or anything related to the charges before the court? That, I mean, generally it's a motion to suppress evidence, so I don't know which evidence you want to have
the
be suppressed.
evidence would involve all of the charges as a result of the unlawful stop and him not knowing when he saw that plate whether I was in state or out of state. So he didn't.
All right. So the fact that there were the plates, the fact that there were no plates on the vehicle, you want that to be suppressed?
There were plates on the vehicle. He said there weren't license plates, but there were plates.
All right. Well, we'll deal with that when we get to the.
Okay. So I want everything suppressed.
Okay. I guess he wants any evidence obtained that relates to any of the four charges before the court suppressed. Correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Very good. So it's the prosecution's burden, since they bear the burden of proof in this, so they'll have to call their first witness. Okay?
Thank you, Your Honor. State would call Sergeant Clarence Davies.
All right.
Sergeant Davies, do you solemnly swear the testimony you shall give this matter for this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Have a seat and state your name for the record.
Clarence Davies,
Please spell your last name.
D-A-V-I-E-S.
All right. Ms. Bree Larson.
Sergeant Davies, could you please state your occupation?
Police officer,
Okay. And who are you employed by?
Hawaii County.
And how long have you been employed by the county?
A little over 13 years.
And as part of your duties with the county, do you conduct traffic stops?
Yes, I do.
And were you employed and on duty on November 11th of 2016 at approximately 5:30 p.m.?
Yes, I was.
And on that date, did you issue a citation to someone by the name of Philip Bickle?
Yes, I did.
If you were to see Philip Bickle again, would you be able to recognize him?
Yes, I would.
And if you see Mr. Bickle present in the courtroom today, would you please point him out and describe what he's wearing?
He's sitting almost directly in front of me wearing a black button-up shirt.
Thank you. If the record could reflect that the witness has identified the defendant.
Yes.
What was your assignment on November 11th of 2016?
Being that I am the sergeant of the traffic enforcement unit, I was conducting just routine traffic enforcement.
Okay. And that's something, so you just said you're sergeant of the traffic enforcement unit, so that's something you do on a regular basis?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And when did you first observe the defendant on that day?
Right around 5:30 p.m.
Okay. And where was the defendant when you first observed him?
He was at the intersection on Highway 139 in KL at Highway 11.
Okay. And that intersection, the road that you saw the defendant on that intersection, is that a public road?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And that's in the district of Puna, County and State of Hawaii?
Yes.
Thank you. And what direction was the defendant traveling?
He was facing in a westerly direction, turning southbound.
Okay. And where were you in relation to the defendant?
Directly behind his vehicle.
Okay. So you were in your patrol vehicle behind the defendant?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. And what initially drew your attention to the defendant's vehicle?
What I first observed was in the rear license plate holder was it looked like a car dealership placard that said Whitmire. That was red and blue.
Can you spell that, please?
Could I refer to my citation?
Yes. If the record can reflect, I'm first going to show Mr. Bickle a copy of the citation in this matter, the 3DTI 16-016896.
Right. Yes.
So Sergeant Davies, if just, take a look, and then once you're done, if you could just turn the document down. Thank you. May I retrieve the document?
Yes.
Thank you. So Sergeant Davies, could you now spell you said you observed there'd be a placard and license plate that said something Whitmire. Could you spell that?
Wittmeier.
Okay. And could you again describe, if you wouldn't mind, visually just what it looked like?
It was mainly red with the top left corner triangle of blue color with the word Whitmire.
Okay. And was this, where on the back of the vehicle was this located?
In the license plate holder area.
Okay. And so based on your observations, what you saw and what you know to be generally the license plates issued in the state of Hawaii, it looks significantly different to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. When you made this observation, what were the basic lighting and weather conditions at the time, if you recall?
The weather was clear. It was daylight, and there was light traffic.
Okay. And did you have a clear and unobstructed view of the defendant's vehicle when you made that observation?
Yes, ma'am.
Approximately how far away from the defendant's vehicle was your vehicle? You stated before that you were behind the defendant's vehicle. Approximately how far behind?
I was stopped directly behind his vehicle and my vehicle.
Thank you. So upon making that observation, what did you do next?
When the light turned green and Mr. Bickle started to make a left turn, I initiated my blue lights and conducted a traffic stop fronting the Shipman Park.
Thank you. And did you make contact with the driver of the vehicle, the defendant, at that time?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And when you initially approached the vehicle, who was in the driver's seat?
Mr. Bickle.
Were there any other passengers in the vehicle? Anyone else?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And once you began interacting, or once you approached the vehicle, did you make any other observations?
I did look at the front of the vehicle to see if there was a license plate on the front, and there was not.
And so this initial observation that you made regarding there being no license plate, at least on the back of the vehicle, did you issue a citation to Mr. Bickle for that offense?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And did you inform Mr. Bickle of the reason for the stop and your observations?
Yes, I did.
And what did he say, if anything?
Probably not his exact words, but he related that he was exempt. He provided me some. He claimed there were California court documents. He related he was from the Republic of California. He provided me some documents that, well, he related there were court documents from California. I glanced at them, but I didn't see any California state seals on them. He eventually provided, or he also provided me a bill of sale for the vehicle and his passport.
Were you able to determine, based on, you said a bill of sale, whether Mr. Bickle was the registered owner of the vehicle? Or was that your understanding?
It was my understanding he was a registered owner from the bill of sale that he had.
Did Mr. Bickle say anything to you regarding ownership of the vehicle, whether that he purchased the vehicle, brought the vehicle over, anything of that nature?
Yes, he related that he had it shipped over.
Okay. Could you describe the vehicle for the court, please?
It was a 1993 Ford F-150, mainly white in color with a white camper and a gray stripe around the middle of the vehicle.
Thank you. You said also that Mr. Bickle provided you with his passport. Is that the way in which you were able to determine his birth date?
Yes, I was able to confirm his birth date through his passport.
Do you recall what his birth date was? Or if not, is there anything that would help you remember?
I'd have to.
Okay. Again, Your Honor, I'm showing Mr. Bickle the same document that I showed him previously.
All right.
May I approach the witness?
Yes.
May I approach again, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. And Sergeant Davies, could you now recall the defendant's birth date after having reviewed the citation that you issued on the date in question?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was that birth date?
November 12th, 1978.
Okay, thank you so much. And did everything that you testified to today occur in Puna, County and State of Hawaii?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. No further questions for the witness at this time.
Mr. Bickle, cross-examination.
Yes. One moment.
Certainly.
Try not to be too repetitive here, but are you a sworn Hawaii peace officer?
I'm a Hawaii police officer, yes.
Okay. Do you have a valid, up-to-date oath recorded for your current employment?
Sorry, recorded?
There's an oath required when you take your office, your position. Do you have a current valid oath on record?
Object, Your Honor. I believe that Sergeant Davies has already testified that he is an officer.
It's not relevant either to the question of the stop.
This
We're
is,
talking,
he has to have authority.
Mr. Bickle, I'm the one who makes that decision, okay, whether it's relevant or not you, okay? So consequently, We're here to you're talking about the stop. That's what we're talking about here, the reason for the stop. Whether he has an oath of office has nothing to do with the stop. Okay? So proceed.
Point of clarification. Are citizens allowed to make traffic arrests, Your Honor?
I'm not here to answer your questions. I'm sorry.
This
I mean,
is
you're
a
asking
point
for a
of
legal opinion.
clarification.
I am not. We're here to discuss the reason for the stop for your automobiles. That's what we need to focus on. That's all that she talked about. So you're really restricted to that. This is not the trial in this matter. This is the motion to suppress.
Do you understand the duty of a witness to tell the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And on November 11th, 2016, you were acting in your official capacity, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you enforce codes, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And prior to enforcing codes, you went to the police academy, is that also correct?
Yes, sir.
While you were at the police academy, did you study criminal law?
I'm going to object again, Your Honor, to relevance. I think the focus should be
Sustained.
brought back.
That's not relevant.
Thank you.
Did you study the traffic code?
I have knowledge of the traffic code, yes.
Did you study it at police academy?
I'm going to object again, Your Honor. I do think the witness has answered the question. He is familiar with the traffic code. If the defendant has a question regarding a specific provision of the traffic code, perhaps the one in effect here that we're talking about, in terms of license plates being displayed on the vehicle, the question could be focused to that versus the code in its entirety.
I agree. It's overbroad.
All right, were you taught what the driver's license is for?
I'm going to object again, Your Honor. We're
It's
not going to
not
talk about
relevant.
licensing issue.
When you were behind me, did you observe me engaging in commerce?
Do you have a definition of commerce, sir?
That's. I'll sustain an objection. That's.
She hasn't
That's for a
objected.
legal conclusion at this point in time.
If he has to pull me over based on certain things,
He
which
basically-
may include
You can ask him why he pulled
commerce,
you over. You're perfectly welcome to ask that question.
and there has to be a reason for it, and
you can ask him that.
that's part of what this question is a foundation
Ask your
for.
question again, and we'll listen to it carefully.
Did you observe me engaging in commerce?
Do you understand the question?
No, I do not.
All right.
Okay. When you initiated contact with me on November 11th, 2016, was it your purpose to enforce the Hawaii traffic law?
Yes, sir.
And part of your enforcement involves traffic stops on a routine basis?
Yes, sir.
How many years have you been enforcing traffic law itself?
Since coming out of recruit class from the time when I was in the field training program.
So,
I think he testified it's a little
About
bit more than 13 years.
13 years, yeah. Does traffic law involve rules?
I'm going to object to that question, Your Honor.
It's vague. Sustained.
What is traffic?
Same objection, Your Honor. Vague.
Vague, abstained.
Do you have an awareness of Chapter 286 Highway Safety under Title 17 Motor and Other Vehicles of the Hawaii Revised Statutes?
I would ask, Your Honor, for Mr. Bickle to explain the...
Yeah, what's the relevance of that?
Thank you.
He cited me on two separate things there.
None of them were, oh, sorry, safety check was 286. Okay.
Yes. So
Go to the specific section then.
So do you have an awareness of the safety check under Chapter 286 Highway Safety?
I have an awareness. I don't know the whole section
Okay.
verbatim.
Awareness. And for the section that you cited, do you have personal knowledge about that section?
Once again, let's focus on the reason for the stop, okay?
This is part of the stop.
No. I think you can ask him specifically. He said the reason he pulled you over is because of a license plate, not because of a safety check.
That's what he said, but they have also argued that he pulled me over for the safety inspection sticker.
No, they
Which
issued you a
is-
citation for that. Not that he pulled you over for it. I think the testimony is that he pulled you over for the license plate. If I'm not mistaken.
Okay, this declaration
They may have issued
is
some
modified from the criminal case, so I mixed that up. They've changed that from the criminal case.
We're focusing on the reason for the stop, not anything else. So just the reason for the stop.
I understand that. I thought that they had included
Oh, okay.
what they
All
had
right,
previously
nope,
said
fair
there.
enough.
Officer Davies, did you break any rules in order to pull me over and accuse me of breaking a rule?
Do you understand the question? I mean,
I believe Mr. Bickle is asking the witness to state whether there was a legal basis for the stop. It was a two-part question, first of all.
Compound
break it down-
question.
Exactly. So we could break it down that way.
yeah, if you could break it down, Mr. Bickle, maybe we can.
Officer Davies, did you break any rules in order to pull me over?
Not that I'm aware of.
And you did accuse me of breaking a rule.
I'm sorry. Do you understand the question?
No, sir.
When you pulled me over,
You can ask him what he said. What did you say?
what was the first thing you said to me when you, at the initial moment of contact?
I don't recall exactly what I said, but normally I inform the person why I stopped them.
And your reason for stopping me that you gave me?
No, I believe was no license plate.
Okay. So you followed all the rules when you initiated the traffic stop?
I believe I did, sir.
Do police officers get to break the rules in order to enforce the rules?
I'm sorry, was that
argumentative.
question? Argumentative.
Officer Davies, what was the rule that you followed to initiate the traffic stop?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
You
You seem to be
understand?
referring to a specific rule, but I'm not sure what that rule is.
You need authority to initiate a traffic stop. What rule did you follow when you made a determination to initiate a traffic stop?
I think you've already asked him why he initiated the traffic stop, and he told you.
That's not it. I'm asking him what rule.
I'm sorry, that's not.
What's the rule?
That's not relevant.
Yes, it is. That's
I
the
think-
most relevant part of this case.
We're not.
And
Mr.
this is
Bickle,
why I asked
stop,
you to recuse
stop,
yourself.
right now. This is a motion to suppress evidence. We're not here arguing the merits of the case. If you have, that will be dealt at the trial. You can deal those issues at the trials. Only the stop.
Either
The
he
reason
made a
stopped-
lawful stop or he didn't make a lawful stop, respectfully. And for him to have made a lawful stop, he has to have followed rules.
I believe this goes, Your Honor, again to the question of authority that Mr. Bickle addressed earlier in terms of this witness's capacity or his employment as a sergeant with the
No.
Manhattan Police Department.
No, this has nothing to do with that. This has to do with what rule he used as authority to make a legal stop.
I think that.
We know what's going. I know what's going on here. He has to follow rules. A stop. The higher courts have declared
We're not
that
here to argue the case
arrest-
right now. We're here to only ask him questions about the reason for the stop, period.
yes, and I need to know, did he follow rules? He answered that. Now I want to know, what rule did he follow? Because if he didn't follow a rule, we've got a problem, and we have evidence in support of an unlawful stop.
All right,
And both of you know that.
I'll disallow that question. Proceed to your next question. I'll disallow this line of inquiry. I think he's already testified he's a police officer, a sergeant working in the traffic enforcement unit, and part of his duty rules, period.
Yes, and I'd like to know exactly
He's
what
already
that
said
rule
it.
number is. I have a code book right here. I'd love to look it up. How am I going to look it up if I don't know what rule he followed when he did that?
No, I'm not going to
That's
allow
not fair to me, is it?
I'm not going to allow that.
Because it tears this thing wide open.
No, because it's not relevant.
It's the most relevant thing here. I'm alleging that he made an unlawful seizure. And for him to have made a lawful seizure, he had to follow rules. There are specific rules laid out. And
Your Honor, if I
I'm,
could-
sh-
sorry. No,
I'm certain I know where this is going to go, and I'm going to have to peel it. But there's rules.
Mr. Bickle,
Just like he
Mr. Bickle,
wrote down a rule from me and said, this rule is something that you did not follow. I want to know the rule number that he used to lawfully initiate that stop.
And I think that question could perhaps be answered simply. I mean, if we're talking about the officer or sergeant has also already testified, the basis for the stop was the fact that there was no license plate on the back of the vehicle.
he's also
So,
testified
Mr.
that he's a
Bickle-
police officer for the county of Hawaii, and he
Right.
conducts traffic and stops and investigations.
And the basis for the citation that was given for that offense and that observation that was made by the sergeant is Hawaii Revised Statutes 249-7.
I'm going to object. The argument's improper here that she's making. All I want is the rule,
All right,
the rule number.
We're not going there. He's already testified he has the authority. I find he has.
And where does the authority come from? What's that rule number?
I ask your next question. You've made your record.
All right, and I'm going to object to this, forcing me to skip the main point that I've got in my defense here against an illegal search and
Okay,
seizure.
go ahead. All right, ask your next question. We've already covered that.
Prior to the contact, had you activated the vehicle's red lights?
No, sir, I don't have red lights.
prior to the contact, had you activated any lights?
Yes, I did.
And were those lights directed at me?
Yes, sir.
And was it your intent that I halt?
It was my intent for you to pull over, yes.
Okay. Did I comply with your intent?
Yes, sir.
Was it immediate?
Yes, sir.
And at that point, did you exit the patrol vehicle and come up and initiate a conversation with me?
Yes, I did.
At the time of the initiation of your conversation, was I free to go?
No, you were not.
So if I had just left, I probably would have gotten in trouble, right?
Do you want me to speculate?
I'm going to object at this point, Your Honor. I do think, again, we're going past the
Yeah, we're
point
just
of
talking about the reason for the
reason
stop. I think it's clear that he stopped you. I don't think there's any, I don't think he's denying that. I don't think the prosecutor's denying that you were stopped.
So you wanted me to stay put.
I'll object, Your Honor. Ask an answer.
Yes. Sustained.
Did you tell me at any time that I was under arrest?
No, I did not.
At the time of your contact, were you in possession of or responding to a warrant for my arrest or the search and seizure of my automobile?
No, sir.
Did I ask you during the contact if it was a traffic stop?
I believe you did.
Officer, did you issue any citation forms to me?
Yes, I did.
How many citation forms did you issue to me?
I ordered you, I served you, or I gave you 2 separate citations, a criminal and an infraction citation.
Officer, are crimes and infractions both offenses?
Yes, one's a crime and one's an infraction.
And are both different classes of offenses?
Yes, sir.
What type of offense is HRS 249-7, no vehicle license plate?
It's an infraction.
Okay. Are you authorized to make a seizure of a moving automobile if you witness a traffic violation?
I think that calls for speculation. We have to know some specific facts.
If he witnesses a violation, a class of offense called violations, if you witness that,
No, you have to stick to the facts of this case. We're not talking about generally. Just stick to the facts of this case, please.
This case has 4 violations.
Right.
They all fit within that.
Right.
Do you want me to spell each one out?
No, I just said we're talking about not speculating whether he can seize a vehicle for any purpose, but what happened in this particular case.
It's not any purpose. It's for the purpose of witnessing a traffic violation.
Right? I think he testified that he pulled you over for a traffic violation, a violation of Section 249-7. I think we've gone over this about 6 times.
He did that, but I'm asking now, was he authorized to make a seizure of a moving automobile if he witnessed a traffic violation?
I think that calls for speculation, because I don't think there's any evidence of a seizure of an automobile. I don't think he ever took custody of the automobile. There's no evidence of that.
Do you know the law that authorizes you to make a seizure if you witness such a violation?
Going to object to this line of questioning, Your Honor.
Calls for speculation.
Do you know the law that authorizes you to make a seizure if you witness a violation?
Sir, you've asked
HRS
you've asked that question.
249-7,
You asked
no
that-
vehicle license plate?
You asked that question. It was sustained. You've been over this about 9 times already.
No, you guys are actually changing the wording of what I'm saying and claiming that I'm saying different things. And I have these things spelled out very specifically.
Well,
It took a lot of time to do this.
Well, I understand, and I
And
understand.
I don't actually appreciate rewording things and claiming that I'm stating the same thing over and
All right,
over.
ask your questions. We'll sustain them one at a time if they're not relevant.
Authority is relevant when acting against citizens. Citizens cannot be arrested without proper.
Mr. Bickle, I understand what your dilemma is. However, there is no evidence you were ever placed under arrest in this case.
When a citation is issued, the individual has been placed under arrest. This is something that the courts have dictated here in Hawaii.
All right,
Again, I do object.
let's move on to another line of questioning, please. I'll note your objection.
The infraction citation that you gave me has a box on it. So what you put on this citation, you signed your name to it, and everything that's on it is true and correct to the best of your knowledge.
Yes, sir. Actually, no, sir.
No?
No, sir.
Okay. Would you explain what is incorrect on here? Do you need to see this
You
to
wanna-
explain
No,
it?
I believe I know what is not right.
Uh,
Where it says, I believe, either first observed or location, I believe I have Highway 139 and Highway 130. Highway 130 is not the correct highway. It should be Highway 11.
Okay. So is that the only problem then that you're aware of that
Yes,
was
sir.
on that citation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, let's see. You checked the box that states registered owner?
Yes, sir.
And you determined that I was the registered owner?
You provided me a bill of sale, and that's all I had to go by.
So, did the bill of sale state on it that I was the registered owner?
Right, once again, we're going beyond the reason for the stop, okay? This is after the stop, so we need to talk about specifically about the stop. Your motion to suppress covers any of these other items as well, so we're just talking about the stop right now. This may be something you want to save if the case proceeds to trial. Mr. Bickle, just briefly, I need to take another case real quickly. You can stay where you are. We're going to call another case so we can get someone who's in custody back to the jail. We'll take a brief recess in this matter. You can step down if you want, officer, please. I can't. He's got ADA, so I'm not going to have him move. We can have him. We can do him over here.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Deputy Prosecutor Winston Albright on behalf of the state. Oh, sorry. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
Calling from our 1400 preliminary hearing calendar numbers 2 and 3 for Patrick Hanato.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Deputy Prosecutor Winston Albright on behalf of the state.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Justin Haspy for Patrick Hanato in the case ending in 234. Mr. Hanato is present.
Right.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Melody Parker appearing with Mr. Hanato in the remaining case. Your Honor, at this time we have discussed with Mr. Hanato the state of the evidence that we have been able to review, as well as some of the information that we are missing at this time. We are prepared to waive, Mr. Hanato is prepared to waive his right to a preliminary hearing within 48 hours and ask that the matter be reset within a 30-day period.
Your Honor, just for the record, the state would object. We do have our witnesses to proceed forward. We'll submit to the court. If we are getting a new date, we'd like to bring in our witnesses just to have them ordered back if we could.
Yeah, no, she needs additional discovery before she can do the prelim. I don't think I have any alternative if he's willing to waive.
And
Thank
Your
you.
Honor, we would join in the request.
All right, matter is granted. We'll continue the preliminary hearing. What?
Your Honor, if I may retrieve the witnesses.
Let me get a date first.
Okay.
It was 7:04.
I believe we still have the full 30 days on the clock, Your Honor. That's our calculation.
As of Wednesday.
From the 28th, I believe.
April 25th, Your Honor, at 2 p.m. in PC.
You want to call your witnesses in?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay.
It's 2 o'clock, 2C.
April 25.
Okay. I would ask, identification is going to be an issue in this case, so I would ask if Mr. Hanato can
That's fine.
leave.
Your Honor, we have our witnesses here. We need witnesses for both cases coming in. Just a moment, please, Your Honor. Your Honor, if we could start with the first case here. We do have Ms. O'Hara, Tiffany Edwards Hunt, and also Officer Aaron Abalos, Rose Zastro, and also Donovan Scheuer Lease.
All right, each of you are ordered to return to this court April 25th, 2017 at 2 o'clock. Okay?
In regards to the other case, I do have one other officer that we're trying to locate out of the hallway, Officer Wyatt Kali Leong, on the promoting a dangerous drug free case.
He's here. Officers, come forward.
Yes, sure. I can do that.
All right, Officer, your name is Officer what? All right, you're ordered to return to this court 4/25/2017 at 2 o'clock. All right, thank you. Anything further?
Nothing further,
All right,
Judge.
thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah, bail maintained.
We're calling from our, we have a traffic calendar for Philip People.
All right, we're back on the record. Where's the officer?
Thank you. Be right back.
All right, the record should reflect that Officer Davies has resumed to stand. Reminder, you're still under oath, Officer Davies.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Bickle, your next question, please.
Other than the no license plate violation, did you have any suspicion of any criminal activity occurring?
When he stopped you.
When
you were stopped.
Before he initiated
Right.
the show of authority. So before you turned your, I'm sorry, I'll start again. Before you turned your lights on and the siren, did you have any suspicion of any sort of criminal activity going on in addition to the no license plate violation that you
No, sir.
observed? Okay. Okay, no further questions.
Okay. Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
All right, you're free to leave.
Thank you.
Okay, anything further?
No, Your Honor. I would just make it just a brief closing argument at the appropriate
Mr.
time.
Bickle, anything further before we argue?
No, there's nothing else that I can say that isn't going to be opposed right now.
All right. All right, I'll listen to argument, please.
Sergeant Davies here this afternoon testified that he made an observation of Mr. Bickle driving on a public road and in violation of HRS 249-7. Officer testified that it was clear that the defendant's vehicle did not bear a license plate issued by the state of Hawaii, and that was the basis of the stop here. The case law on this point, which I will not go into extensively, as I did cover it in the state's memo in opposition to the defendant's motion to suppress, so that was filed on March 24th, clearly says that, or case law clearly says that observed violations of the state of Hawaii traffic code do allow officers to conduct traffic stops in this case, even just investigatory in nature, and that's what happened here. So basis of Mr. Bickle's argument was that there was no basis for the stop, for Sergeant Davies to effect a traffic stop, and I think that based on the observations that Sergeant Davies testified to today, as well as the case law covered in the state's memorandum in opposition, there absolutely was a basis for the stop. So Mr. Bickle's motion to suppress should be denied.
All right, Mr. Bickle, any argument, please?
I believe that my rights are being denied here. I've attempted to ask questions that would demonstrate Officer Davies' knowledge of the language that he uses, of the rules that he enforces, and I've been denied the opportunity to actually hear out of his own mouth what his understanding of certain words, such as driving, would be, and operate, and what what would constitute grounds for a traffic stop, which I would love to know the code. I have a book, and I just, under the arrest section and whatnot, I just don't see anything that says traffic stop, but I do see something that says arrest. And I do know that that section is being cited against me in a criminal case. So I believe my rights are being denied here. I believe that I cannot have a fair trial, and I believe that there's a collaboration between both the prosecution and your members, and I'm going to get this on the record too. When I left here the one day, I was approached by another bar member who essentially made a gesture, essentially, if you will, to accept something, and including his offer of representation, or I could potentially wind up in jail. Now, unbeknownst to him, the whole thing's recorded. I plan on dealing with this abuse of authority here and the attack on my rights, my ability to question him and actually have him cite the code that he relies on to pull me over. And I believe that there's corruption going on here. It's not going to be, I'm going to have to appeal this. I understand that. I understand it. I've already seen every step of my inquiry today where I would have had him in a position to actually admit that he doesn't know the rule for a traffic stop, because there is none. And none of you will give it to me either. You guys won't give it to me. I asked. You won't give it. I know why you won't give it, because it doesn't exist. It's an arrest. He made an arrest, and those arrests are predicated upon certain rules. What he did violated the Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution under unlawful seizures. He had to suspect some sort of criminal activity. He did admit that on the record. I got him to admit that on the record. And that was critical. So the Fourth Amendment was violated by him not suspecting any sort of criminal activity and making that seizure. Hawaii courts, the upper courts, acknowledge this, and that's in my brief. What is it? State v. Simeona indicates that a violation does not constitute a crime, and the code that authorizes the sort of behavior that is colloquially called a traffic stop is under the section of arrest 803-5, warrantless arrest, and it very clearly states in Section A that if they believe that they witness and they have probable cause or articulable suspicion that criminal activity is afoot, that they may arrest the individual. And Section B indicates that for the purposes of that section, that probable cause refers strictly to criminal activity. He's on the record as saying he did not suspect any criminal activity. So,
Record's clear on that.
yes, the record is clear on that. And so, under the Hawaii revised statute 803-5, which is the only code that he could have performed a traffic stop under, unless somebody would like to correct me. No? Okay. That's the only thing that he could have performed a traffic stop under, and it very specifically spells out. I'm going to read it right into the record as opposed to just paraphrasing it.
Go ahead.
By police officer without warrant, A police officer or other officer of justice may, without warrant, arrest and detain for examination any person when the officer has probable cause to believe that such person has committed any offense, whether in the officer's presence or otherwise. B, for purposes of this section, a police officer has probable cause to make an arrest when the facts and circumstances within the officer's knowledge and of which the officer has reasonable, trustworthy information are sufficient in themselves to warrant a person of reasonable caution in the belief that a crime has been or is being committed. Now, a crime has been segregated. It is an offense, just as violations are, but it has been. It is something that someone could be arrested for. It is not a fine-only offense. And furthermore, the Hawaii Supreme Court in State v. Pendergast, a warrantless seizure is presumed invalid unless and until the prosecution proves that the seizure falls within a well-recognized and narrowly defined exception to the warrant requirement. Again, there was no warrant. He acknowledged that on the record. And furthermore, in State v. Pendergast, a narrow exception to the warrant requirement allows police officers to stop a vehicle if the officer has a reasonable suspicion that the person stopped was engaged in criminal conduct. A no license plate violation does not constitute criminal conduct. It is a violation, a separate category. So his actions, to sum up, violated the seizure portion of the United States Fourth Amendment and the Hawaii Constitution counterpart, Article 1, Bill of Rights, Section 7, because it's not authorized. So, for the reasons I've just listed, I respectfully request that all evidence from the warrantless search, seizure, and arrest from November 11th, 2016, and any evidence derivative thereto be suppressed. So,
All right, anything further?
that would be all.
Okay. Case law in the state of Hawaii is very clear that the police may lawfully stop a driver for a traffic violation, including a non-criminal traffic infraction, citing State versus Powell. State's authority to stop vehicles in cases of observed traffic or equipment violations cannot be seriously questioned, State versus Estabilio. In this particular case, the officer advised that he stopped the vehicle because of a license plate violation, the violation of Section 249-7. I find that that's a lawful investigative stop or a lawful traffic stop for a traffic infraction, and therefore the motion to suppress is denied. We need to set a date for trial in this matter. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Mr. Bickle, do you want to set the case for trial, or do you want to try to get an interlocutory appeal?
I'll do the interlocutory appeal.
Make sure you follow the rules. There's some specific, I mean, you know, I'll grant a motion for an interlocutory appeal if I need to do that. Okay, so you can challenge the motion to suppress evidence. All right, so make sure you follow the appellate rules on that. So make sure you file the necessary documents for the interlocutory appeal in a timely fashion.
Okay. And I presume all of this is recorded so I can have that for review. Okay.
Right.
Okay, so we're not scheduling.
No, I'll put this on for status. I'll put it on for status in about, I don't know, 6 months. Or I can bring it back in a couple months just to make sure. I don't want you to have to come in here if you don't need to, Mr. Bickle. That's what I'm trying to avoid. So, but I don't want you to lose, track of this. I mean, it's a serious issue. You've got to deal with this, and you need to do it properly. So you need to. Why don't we just give you about 60 days, okay? Just so we can keep track of this and make sure that just for status.
June 1st.
All right.
2017, 2 p.m. 2C.
June 1st, 2017, 2 p.m., 2C. Make sure you follow the rules for an interlocutory appeal.
All right.
And that concludes this afternoon's calendar. Court will be in recess and adjourned.
Hey, Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County COPWATCH, and I'd like to thank you for all your years of support through the years. As a result, this channel has grown and allowed me an equity partnership in carmarshal.com. Please take the time to check them out. They help you buy and sell your next car, even have a negotiating tool to save you from the hassle of haggling with multiple dealers. The link is in the description below. Please click and help support and give if you can too through PayPal or Patreon. Thanks again.